Dragon Ball community, welcome back with another video. I'm going to be doing a sort of a deck profile video for each of the decks that are receiving support in the anniversary box. Mainly just because I've been going through and building them, and I felt like, you know what, it's probably just some good content for the Masters community, just for especially for players who are getting back into the game and maybe they're looking at older deck profiles of some of these decks and they're trying to figure out the best way of kind of starting with a competitive template. And there's a lot of different varieties of decks in here. So today we're going to start with U7 Goku. This is the original U7, or I guess one of the original competitive U7 Gokus. This is Supreme Warrior. This came out in set, was it 18? I think it is. This was right after the Icarus Nationals. And Realm of the Gods came out. This set was basically kind of ran by this deck, at least for a format or so, until we had Gogeta in Red Sin, and this leader then became just kind of ceased to exist because it just got power crept. So this deck hasn't actually received any nerfs or anything, so the actual integrity of this deck archetype is still intact. The idea of this deck is that you are a mill red deck. So if you think of some decks now, like looking at like Red Vegeta, like this is something that you would kind of compare to Red Vegeta. Or you would compare that deck to this one. So this deck, you cannot send cards from your drop to your warp, meaning you can't use Overwhelm cards, essentially. You can't use things like Vegito counterplay, so you have some things you just can't do. Auto, activate main, once per turn. You draw a card, you burst 3 first, draw a card, and you discard a card from your hand. And then you awaken when you have 7 or more U7 cards in the drop, which then you are a restand 1, draw 1, because that's what happened back in the days. All the leaders were restand 1, draw 1s. On the other side, and when you attack, you draw a card. Now on this side, you don't draw when you attack, but now you have an activate main that draws you a card, and then you can place up to 3 cards from the top of your deck into the drop, with then having a once per game activate main at Sparking 20, where you add any mono red U7 card from your drop to your hand. Now, the idea typically on your awaken turn is if you have 7 in the drop, you will do your activate main, you'll swing with your leader to draw. You'll hopefully use that 1 energy, and then to awaken, get the energy back, and then on this side you can then draw again. So it's kind of your big plus turn, essentially. Now this is a 60 card list. I think U7 has always sort of been played about 60 cards just because of the amount of milling that you do. You need to make sure that you have enough cards in your deck to still be able to function as you get into that middle of the middle of the late game. By that I mean like turn 4, turn 5, those type of turns. So we'll start with the 1 drops. I played 10. This one is the one you'll probably see in every list. When he's played from hand, he's a draw 1. Burst 1, if this card is placed in the drop by your leader or by an effect of your one of your cards, so basically like your leader's effect where you can burst, you can play this guy and then burst 1. Now you won't draw off of this because it's got to be played from hand, but it does at least give you the 5k combo. I played this Android 18. I know every single other person, from what I've seen, is going to be playing the Gohan from the U7 Gohan deck, and they play the promo Android 18. They both do the exact same thing as this card. This card was like 15 cents, and this is the silver collector's one, which is under $1 as well. So this top part doesn't matter. This bottom part, though, you search top 5 for a U7 that costs 6 or less. Same effect as the other two. Those two search top 5 for a 4 cost or less, and then the Gohan also searches out a Unison. I don't know if the Android 18 does or not. It doesn't matter for this video. This does allow you to play the red-blue U7 cards. So there are some blue, Universe 6 cards that are up to 6 cost. So technically, you can grab those as well, but we don't play those in this particular build. I just don't own Gohan or that promo anymore because I've sold them so long ago, and I just don't feel like buying them back. It's just not really worth the money to me when this card does the same exact thing. Then we have two of this TN, which I kind of like as just another draw 1. This is just a cantrip draw 1. If you have it on your opponent's turn, you can tap 2 to play out 4 multi-form tokens, which are the TN tokens. And then they are our 10k combo power, or 10k power, 0 combo cost, 5k combo power. So it creates 20k worth of combo for 2 energy. That's not an effect you have to do, obviously, right? But it is just another cantrip. So you kind of want to have 10, I think, is probably from testing, it seems like that's sort of the amount that you want to start running, just so you're making sure that you're seeing stuff. We have the new Goku. This is probably going to be in every red deck, right? Minus the 20k card, it's a barrier blocker. We have 4 of the counterplay Goku. This is sort of your version of defeating the demon. What's funny is that this card actually came out, I think, a set. At least it's a set or 2. I think it's maybe 2 sets. Maybe 2 sets before we got Gohan in defeating the demon, which is a counterplay that minuses a card by 20k, right? So this card came out first. This is a Sparking 7. It costs 1. If your leader is a U7, when this card is played, you minus the card by 15k. And then additionally, if that card's power is reduced to 0 or less, you draw the card. 15k is a little power crept now, and that's what you'll see with most of this deck. Is most of this deck is minusing, the smaller stuff is minusing by 15. Well, now, traditionally, most of those cards are going to be 20k, so a little power crept, but it is a card you can play on your turn or your opponent's turn for 1 as long as you have Sparking 7 and your leader is a mono red Son Goku. We have 3 of the 18, I'm sorry, 3 of the 17 and 3 of the Golden Frieza, which are these are traditionally your archetype. Like these are like your big hitters, like during the middle of the game. So 17 your double striker, Frieza is your dual attacker. This minuses by 15. This guy searches, looks up the top 3 to add a mono red U7. They both need Sparking 7 to get their keyword effect, and then you need 5 in the drop. And I don't think you need an energy requirement for either one. Yeah, they're both just 5 in the drop. However, we don't need to play 4 of these anymore because of some of the new archetype cards that we have that allow us to replay these from the drop. So one of those is going to be the Gohan. So Masterful Teamwork, Sparking 10 with dual attack. You pay 2. If your leader is this leader, you play this card from your hand, and then you play a non-Son Gohan Adolescence U7 card with Sparking 7 skill from your drop. Meaning you can play any of these 3 cards from the drop. Alright? And then auto, when this card's played, you choose another U7 card, battle card, other than this, and then you give it 10k for the turn. So you can play any of these guys off this effect, and then give any of these guys 15k. Now, Frieza and Goku both have the effect of when this card's played, so these don't have to be played from hand to get the effect off, which is also really cool. So you actually can play out the Gohan, which then plays out these guys, which then these guys have skills, this guy has a skill, this guy's a dual attacker. Then you can buff any of these cards as well. This gives you a lot of different options in the mid game, and especially in the, I guess, like on turn 3, because this is the earliest you can play this guy. Of kind of figuring out how you want to go that next turn, being able to play a 20k dual attacker and a 29k dual attacker. You want to play a double striker? Do you want to play something that's going to reduce something on board so you can swing into it? Like, you have a lot of different options here. And then we have the Krillin combo here, which is another new card. Which this one is very similar to the Gohan, but he plays a 10 Sparking 10 cost. Now, Gohan is a 10, so you can play Gohan off this effect. You also can play this Vegeta, which for 2, this used to be, this was just never a good idea. Like, this card wasn't really played in a lot of lists because no one wants to pay 2 for this. But now we can pay 1 off the Krillin, right? And then we can play this guy, who draws us a card. He minuses 2 battle cards by 15k, ignoring barrier. And also draws us a card, and he's a deflect crit for 1 energy. And then if you guys notice, Krillin is also a crit, Sparking 7 crit, and he minuses 2 battle cards by 10. So if there's 2 battle cards on board without barrier, you can for 1 energy you can kill 2 cards, 25k or less, and then also draw a card, and then have 2 crit bodies on board. This is really, really strong, really, really strong. We have 4 of the Android 18. This is a card that came out maybe 2 years ago in the anniversary box. It's only for this leader right now. I'm sorry, it's not just for this leader, because there is another mono red U7 leader. But this is a 15k negate counterattack. Play the card minus the battle card by 15k for the turn. You also can play it from the drop by discarding a card from your hand. And this card is removed from the battle area. It's removed from the game instead, so it does not go back to your drop, so you don't get to recycle that card. 3 Baby Unison. So this is a tech that was played a lot in U7 back in the day. I'm including it now. This is something you probably cut depending on your playstyle. But this gives the deck something the deck just kind of inherently lacks, which is draw power. Being able to consistently draw is something that this deck does not do, right? 17 has to attack to draw, and this card is very susceptible to every counterplay in the game. He's a 3-drop, he has no deflect or barrier, he's a 15k, it's not a great stat line, right? This combination with the Krillin and Vegeta is probably your only way of actually truly drawing cards, and even then you're just recycling. You're just cantripping off the Krillin, right? Baby at least allows you to +1 every turn, and then also have removal, and then also have a 20k swing, right? This guy also kind of counts as a floodgate, because your opponent's going to have to want to remove this at some point, and also this beans your leader by 1k. So very, 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 I think needed card. Some people might not play it because they don't want to include it in the deck, but I definitely think it's something you should probably look at playing, just because it fits so perfectly with the rest of the archetype. Being able to just like turn 3, like you can aggress, right? But there's gonna be matchups where you're just gonna lose because of just hand size. This gives you a little bit of an edge in that category. Universe 7 super combo, we're playing Frieza because it's sparking 5. 2 of the ultimate, or I always say ultimate, it's unlimited potential Son Gohan. I think you need this card in this list. This is a better version of your leader effect on the Awakened side. So the leader effect, obviously, you draw a card and you can place up to 3 cards in the drop. Well, why don't I just tap 1 to see 2 of those cards to my hand and then pitch 2 cards from my hand that I don't want? Right now, it is not a Universe 7, but that's okay. We have a lot of Universe 7 cards in the deck. This obviously turns all of our battle cards into combo power, even if they're in rest mode. And also, what's cool is if you play Gohan and you combo off one of your cards. Let's say you have this Gohan on board. You swing with him twice. You play this guy. You swing with the 8-drop Gohan. You combo this Gohan off. Then you can play Krillin to then replay the Gohan. Right? None of these guys have unique, so this gives you a really cool interaction where you're able to just kind of use your cards for extra combo power and then replay them from the drop off of either the Gohan or the Krillin. 2, Ultra Mastery. This is the boss monster intended for the deck. He's a 35k dual attack double striker with a sparking 20 effect. When this card attacks, your opponent reveals their hand, and then you get to choose 1 card, cost 7 or less, and discard it. It's very similar to for people who have played a black deck or they have played against black decks when they use Evil Saiyan. Same exact effect, so it's 1 card, so you also can choose extra cards. Now, card, you play it for 4. You need 10 cards or more of U7 in the drop. Minuses the whole board by 35k, so you have a good little board wipe here. But for 4 is kind of much. But there is a card we're going to show you guys in the Z deck that you have to play, which then reduces this cost a little bit for you. 1 Pure Blood Sparking Vegeta. This was a promo card that came out a while ago as well. It's a 20k minus, so on play when it swings, it's going to minus a card by 20k. And then if this skill reduces that card's cost, that card's power to 0 or less, this card gains double strike. So it's a 30k dual attack double striker for 3 energy. If your leader is red or has Universe and special trait. So it's also just another Universe 7 card, right? So even if you don't actually use this card, you can at least still use it as a U7 target. We have the Secret Rare, Unbridled Power. This is the only one you really can play in the deck since you burst so much. Obviously, we can get this back off of our leader effect. Cost 4, minuses 5k from the leader, which isn't a lot. This is kind of like a win more strategy. But the bottom effect, you can be able to remove your entire opponent's board, ignoring barrier, including their unison, and then also crit 1 of their life. So this is also really good for just killing somebody. Last cards, we have 2 Imposing Presence, 3 Dance, 3 After Image. Dance can probably come out, maybe not completely, but partially, because Dance is just not super good at the moment. But also you can put in Testing. But After Image is one of the best negates for this deck, considering you're always going to have Sparking 5 after turn 2, and you can Awaken at 8 life, meaning you can then use this as many times as you can use this all 3 copies. You can go from 8 to 5 if you want to, just by stopping bigger attacks, right? So you don't really ever need to go down below 4 life, because your super combos are also Sparking 5, so you have a lot of just high life defense, which is really good. Now, for the Z deck, we have Final Confrontation and Mighty Blast. This is being a card you have to play for this deck. If you don't own this card, this deck's not going to be as good. The top part here does not matter for our list because we are not playing this tag team Unison, but when it's removed, you get to play the Unison from the drop. At the end of your turn, you can choose one of your mono red U7s, switch to active mode, and then it gains blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. You also can choose your leader, which is nice. And then activate main. If your leader is this leader, you can reduce the cost of the Ultra Mastery Goku in your hand by 1 red, making him a 3 cost. Now that's much better, right? Paying 3 for that card is much better than paying 4. Gives you 1 energy up for defense if you need it, so that's always very good. So you do have to play this card. Mighty Blast, you also play. This is probably something you'll play more so in like the aggro matchups, and also like if there's later on in the game you want the 15k combo power, you can also just replace Final Confrontation with this. 1 Rush Attack Vegeta, just because red Z deck, other than like Unisons and Z, and like the Z battle cards for this deck are just not very good. I should say that until you get to this guy, right? So like typically like all of the Z battle cards that we've had so far, it's like this and like Defender of Life are probably like the 2 best ones. We can't play the Gogeta because we can't warp our own cards, so we can never play the Gogeta out. However, they got this card in the anniversary card, and this is probably the card that I think will make the deck competitive. Is that we've all know red typically. Good red decks have barrier removal built into their archetype, and average to bad red decks have to utilize other things to do that, and that's typically not very good, right? You want 1 energy barrier removal, or 2, I guess, if you're considering the Kid Q package, right? But in Kid Q, that's much easier to play than it is in other decks. This card, though, I think this card single-handedly makes Supreme Warrior a good pick for competitive, right? 25k, it's a 4 cost that technically costs 1 if you have Sparking 20 and your leader is this leader. It's Deflect, Double Strike. When this card's played, you minus one of your opponent's battle cards ignoring barrier by 25k. Now that part's limit 1, but playing it is not, and this is a 25k Deflect with Double Striker. This is a really good stat line for a card. It does cost 2 Z energy, so by the time you get Sparking 20, you should at least have 2 to 3 Z energy, depending on if you played out anything else from your Z deck. But this is really strong. I think I have 3 in here. That's probably the max. I don't think you need to go to 4. 4 seems a little too much. Obviously, we have Defender of Life for those games where your opponent's trying to stall you. 1 Omega, 1 Jiren, and 1 Piccolo Jr. Piccolo Jr. could be the Majin Buu as well, but all of these have Empower 3, which work really well with our baby Unison. So this allows these Unisons to gain 3 markers when they replace a normal Unison. So a Unison that goes to the drop, so not the Z Unisons. So this guy would be a 35k, Jiren would be 40, Piccolo would be a 30k, and then that just gives you this. The Piccolo is a dual attacker technically. You can -1 to restand it. It's a barrier. Jiren is inherently dual attacker and has barrier. Also can negate an attack from your opponent. And then Omega Shinron minuses a battle card or a Unison by 25k. This is obviously probably the main one that most people play, obviously, as well as the Jiren, because both of these are just incredibly powerful cards. But that's kind of the side, not the side deck, but the Z deck there. This is currently what we have. No side deck to show off, just because depending on if the meta changes, which it's going to change after the anniversary box support, we'll have to come up with what a side deck would be for this. But this is a really good starting point. This also just might be your list. I mean, there's really, other than like the E-Dance change, maybe turning it to like testing, there's not a lot of other things you really need to do with this deck. I think it's pretty good. Maybe putting like Koitsukai in the main. That's also just a good side deck card too. So this is the list here for Supreme Warrior. Hopefully you guys liked the video. Check it out. Let me know what you guys think of the deck. As always, like and subscribe for to support the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.